Um, this morning I did the recording about the distraction from our assignment, and there was so much after, like that message really ministered to me, and there was just a lot of things that had came up for me afterwards, and I knew that I would need to do a part two of the series. Well, it's already a series, a part two of that particular message, and one of the things that initially came up for me is just that, sometimes we become so judgmental of someone's process or somebody's way of doing things. And even sometimes we become judgmental of somebody's ministry, thinking that is not effective and I don't think that, us as Christians do it in a real malicious way, but we just tend to do it sometimes. Like, if somebody is dancing a certain way, or I saw a video on YouTube with some kids dancing to worldly music, and they were in a church, and it wasn't um the lyrics to the music, and and I saw there was so many comments like, why is this happening in church, and they just allow anything, and so many negative comments. And the person who posted it, I mean, had like a lot of negative things to say about it. And then for a person like me, I was like, God, I love it. I love that, because the way I looked at it was, I'm sure that these kids were dancing to this, or had danced in the way that they danced even being outside of the church. I'm thankful that the church is accepting them for who they are and giving them a platform to just be there and hear the word. And then I just trust God that one day they're going to mature into being who it is that God called them to be, because we are steadily maturing, we are steadily growing, we are steadily getting into a place of, just growth, and, as we go through these processes through life. And so, my growth might not look like yours. My process might not look like yours, because my assignment may not be your assignment. And so, we tend to sometimes, just draw judgment from that. And not only that kind of judgment, sometimes we just get like really super, um, excited about some of the things that God is having us to do, and or we might have a gift that God has given us to have insight to certain things, and then we want to push that off on somebody and say, well, you should be focused on this, and this is the kind of ministry we got to be focused on, delivering people. Well, yeah, if you have a deliverance ministry, well, you should be focused on healing people. Yeah, if you have a healing ministry. I mean, everybody have their own thing. Some people, you have to have just a ministry to help a person get through the day. Yes, we should be preparing ourselves because we're living in the end times and stuff like that. And if you have a revelation knowledge ministry and you're trying to prepare people for that time, then thank God for that. But, for some of us, it's like, I need a right now ministry. I need a right now word. I need that encourager, that motivator, that person to who even, yeah, build up my self-esteem. And I'm getting that because someone, shared with me how God told them that they're keeping them to be there. And it's like, it's like sometimes we laugh about it, but we need that. A person may need that minister, or, that type of ministry right then and there to even be able to get to the point of healing and delivering and saving, and so it's really all important. It really is. And, those are the things. So if you're a person and you're in a place, you know, I just believe that God just has you there, even if it's not a good place, even if you're still not even in that Christian place, because this is not about just being saved. It's just about just living this thing called life until you get to that place. And so if you're in a place of anything, yeah, we should feel so uncomfortable that we should want to change when we're in that process of growing and ready to grow, and maybe I'm just feeling this way because for so many years I didn't have Christianity down pat. For so many years I stayed in the same mess. I remember when I first got saved, hearing one of the ministers talk about how she ran from her call for 10 years, and I just thought that that was the strangest thing. Like, I wouldn't run for 10 years. If God called me, I wouldn't run for 10 years. Well, guess what? I ran for 17. It was 17 years between the time of me accepting Christ and the time of me telling God yes to your call on my life. It was 17 years. And being a baby in Christ, I thought, oh, never me, never 10 years. I hear some people say, oh, you shouldn't be anything for more than this time. But for me, it was 17 years that I was still in my mess. But one thing that I have to say about those 17 years is that I probably learned so much. And now I'm at a point that I am breaking through a lot of things, and I'm realizing that I had to go through what I went through. I had to go through the experiences that I had to go through, because the people that I do somehow wind up touching, I touch them because of the pain that I've been through, because of the experiences that I've had in those 17 years. Those are the things. And now I could sit here outside of that and then just tell you how God helped me or how God delivered me from that. That's where I am right now. So if you see somebody in a mess, they're still going through their process. We don't know that they're not. And we could pray for them. We might think that it's time for them to be delivered, and that's fine. But just accepting that might be the process that God has them on. And one of the things so all of those things I was thinking, I thought, like, as soon as I had finished recording the message. And one of the other things, like, after I recorded the message, and I had talked about in a previous message about how I didn't even want to tell you guys about me dealing with anxiety and having panic attacks and things of that nature. And it was like, it began to deal with me, like, you shouldn't be ashamed of anything. Why would you be ashamed of anything? And I even had to say, well, so if a person had cancer, you know, would they be less equipped to talk about healing? You know, or what God was even doing in their process of healing? You know, if a person formerly had cancer, would it have been wrong to say, oh, you suffered from that, but they're here to tell you about their deliverance? So when it comes to, yes, a mental health thing, it's the same thing. Fear, anxiety, panics, it might not be the level of some things, but yes, can I be a Christian who say I love the Lord and I believe in him and still deal with that? Well, I am one. I don't know if somebody feels that I should snap out of it right now, but I'm learning so much in the process. So I just want to give you a real transparent moment, something that happened to me like not long ago. And this is so personal, but I just have to share it. So, everything that I'm going through with my supervisor, and what I'm going through at work. And this has really been one hell of a journey. That's like the only kind of way I could describe it. And even though I'm fighting this physically, I have been very in tune to the fight that I'm having spiritually. And that's been a part that I share with you guys, but just that emotional and that mental piece of it, I think I have kept that, hidden in for myself. Definitely not to share it in the recordings, and primarily not to share it in the recordings because, it should always be spiritual, so that mental, emotional piece of it has been more of my personal journey. But I'm gonna share that with you because something happened that I was just amazed by. This morning God had me to minister to somebody, and she was going through with her fiance, and really they were at a point where they called off the wedding and everything. And, she texted me and said she needed prayer. And when she did, like, oh, she was just so broken, and I knew that pain. And, and we prayed, and at the end, it's like I had the audacity to even say that I'm thankful to God that this was happening, because, I just knew that it was one thing for him to look at you and you to look at him and you to say, this is who I want. But what you needed to learn was, I'm a nasty, disrespectful individual, and I am a lying, cheater, no good person. And then you need to know, can you love me? Because at the end of the day, no matter what you're showing a person on the outside, it's those despicable pieces on the inside that you're really marrying. And whether you address those issues prior to marriage, you're going to have to address them at some point, and they're going to surface. And so I began to tell her that I was so thankful that, God would, like, she don't have to question if this is the man, if you believe you have heard God. We don't even need to get there. But the thing is that God is not going to allow you to marry somebody that you don't know. At least he's not allowing you to marry somebody that you don't know. And he's not allowing him to marry somebody that he don't know, that these issues have had to come with, where you have had to show your ugly, and his ugly has had to be exposed, so that you really know who it is that you're dealing with. But the beauty in that is that if you allow God to heal you from that, if you allow him to, now that it's been exposed, to break it apart and fix it and make you new, then you can be better than that. And it might be a very long process, but you can be better than that together. And, and I said that, and once again, it's those things when you're on the outside, you could say it. So, what wound up happening to me was, so going through work, I'm out of work right now. My doctor put me out on, stress leave. I have been having panic attacks almost daily, even at the thought of going to work. And there have been times that, I will not lie to you, I've had to say, like, Nicole, is this even really that serious? Like, can you not, like, really walk into work? Like, what are you trying to achieve here? Until I realized that, the idea is not the work, but the idea was causing me panic, to see an email, to check my email, to go, and anything was just, it was like a terror for me, and the terror was real. And I really was having a hard time with that, because it's like, wait a minute, God. Wait a minute, God. We just went through this morning. I know that you got it. I know that I know that I am, like, in the midst of the fiery furnace. Like, but why am I still feeling this? Like, how could this terror and this panic be this real, God? And I still believe in you. Just, even if I put that aside, like, how could it just be this real? Is it really that serious? So my therapist, who is, like, so great, was actually, talking to me on the phone about, how my job was feeling, and he's explaining to them the terror. And he said that, during this time, we need to start digging deeper into some other issues with you. And I was like, really? And he said, and you got a part of me, because I am going to be emotional, because I'm being very real. But he said that one of the issues that he needs to visit with me was the issue that I had with my mother. And when he said that, just like now with me talking to you, I began to cry and just really get emotional. And I was amazed, because I'm like, the crazy thing is that the other day, my daughter was going through something with my mother, and I had a hard time talking to my daughter, because I know what it's like to deal with my mother, and it could be very, very difficult. And I'm an adult, and so I don't have to deal with some things, but she puts my children through it, and it's very hard. So I said, what? I need to talk to my mother, because as I have explained in my previous videos, my mother is very bothered by the fact of my mother's very bothered by the fact of my supervisor doing the things that she's doing, and she's having a sense of wanting to protect me But what my therapist helped me to see was that the reason why I am dealing with the panic and the anxiety is because it reminds me of the issues that I have with my mother, and it's very traumatic. And the main issue that I was having with the job, that it wasn't the person, because I really don't have any hate at all, for my supervisor. I don't have any ill will, any ill feelings. I don't. But I'm really like traumatized from going in, and I really didn't understand that. And the thing about it was that nobody's protecting me. And the job is not protecting me. So obviously I have issues with, feeling vulnerable and unprotected. And that came out, and it was so real that I had to capture this. I had to capture this emotion. I had to capture what happened even in the moment, because I had to go back to the conversation that I had with the girl earlier. And, I was talking about her relationship, how this had to happen. It had to happen the way that it happened, because um, it had to happen the way that it happened so that the ugly part could come out, so that you could begin to be healed. And now I'm realizing that I really had some really, really, really deep rooted issues that I have not been healed from. And, in all the years of me, um, going to therapy and me openly talking about myself to people, I had really, really, really never dealt with some things. And not purposely, I just didn't know that they existed until I was placed in this position that I am now in, to where they had to surface. And, all I can say is that, it's part of the process. I mean, it's a part of the process. So do I run from that? I'm not running from that no more, because yes, do my stress and my anxiety and my panic have a place here? It absolutely does. It does. It even have a place in my Christianity, because in order for me to ever work towards being whole, I have to be broken, and then that's the way my brokenness comes out. It's different things for different people. And so we can't not think that the things that we go through don't have a place in ministry. That's not the truth. It's just not the truth. It does have a place in ministry. Every little bit of it counts. Every person counts. No matter who you think they are, no matter how ill-equipped you believe that they might be, it all counts. And I truly believe that, even with the name of the ministry, Ravens by the Brook Ministries, with the ravens being the most unlikeliest creature, to assist in the time that he did, in the way that he did, out of First Kings. That's just, that's just the way that God works. So we can't counting any of it out. We gotta count it all joy. We have to count it all joy. We have to count the pain. We have to count the sorrow, the struggles. You might not even be able to count it joy in that moment. I'm stealing this moment. I'm stealing all of the moments that I have of where I see a glimpse of God, and just find the joy in that, just to say, God, oh man, like, I'm still going through this, and it still hurts, and I know I still have a lot of work to do, and the work might be painful, and I'll be honest with you, I rather no more pain with that. But in this moment, like, God, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for delivering me. Thank you for just thank you for it all right now, um, because without God, I wouldn't even have this. I wouldn't have anything, but I wouldn't even have this. I wouldn't have that moment to just find peace. I wouldn't have that moment to, say, you're okay, and it's okay, even though it just doesn't feel okay. And so, um, I'm trying not to stretch this out past, where it needs to go, but I just want to say that, this is just a journey. It is just a journey, and it's a very painful journey. And, I always say it's one I'd rather not be on, but I'm thankful. I'm just thankful. And, I just got to trust God in the rest of the process. So I'll end it here. Thank